And they said, wow, that's amazing.
It's Frequency Radio.
The Wicked One, obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Paranormal Portal. And I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and thank you so much for joining us tonight as we are visited by spirits not of this world. Apparently, the ghost radar just went off, so we're off to a start. I guess I'm not the only one here in the studio, but I'm not alone here either way because, of course, all of you are with me, but I'm also joined by the big branch of my personal family tree. My firstborn, Mr. Sheldon Thomas, is here as well. How you doing, Sheldon?
Personal family tree versus another family tree.
Well, the bigger family tree, you may not be the biggest branch, but on my family tree, whereas I'm the trunk, you're the branch. You're the biggest branch.
The biggest branch. That's right. Yeah, I'm doing good. Doing good though. Feeling great. It's an amazing Friday night here in the portal.
Well, hopefully it will be. We're certainly going to do our best to make it amazing, as always. We'll be hitting the news pretty quick here, followed by the Discord question of the week. If you're not already a member of the Discord, by God, you can be one. And I'll put the link in the YouTube chat if you want to be a member. But for those of you out there listening, hi, Eric. How you doing? For those of you out there listening and not looking at the YouTube chat, well, then by all means, head over to https://discord.gg/paranormal portal. And that will be your entryway into the portal. So I'll pin it as soon as it moves past that heart thing. There we go. Now I can pin it. Okay. So it's now pinned on the top of the YouTube chat. If you want to become part of the community, by all means, that's how you do it. Our Discord community is very much like our chat community here during the live shows. It's really a continuation of that. So if you've come to love the community that's here, of which I can't take any credit for because you guys have built this, you guys have made it amazing. So, but if you want to continue contacting and be in touch with many of the people that are in the chat, then hit the Discord because many of them are over there posting links, having discussions, and special thanks again to our moderators who are second to none in the entire YouTube verse, and our amazing members who are incredible and helps to carry the load of all of this. And to Chucky Danger, who is an admin over there as well. And he is a member here, but he has been spearheading the question of the week for us for a few questions now, and it's been amazing. Thank you, Chucky, for your help. Thank because, you, my God. Oh, Portal Mom's here. How you doing, Portal Mom?
Nina.
That's right. It's Nina, your grandma. Your grandma. But we got a bunch of fun to get to, and by God, hopefully we teach you something along the way. So I'm trying to think, am I forgetting anything? There was something I wanted to mention on the front end here, but I don't know what it is. I'm kind of drawing a blank.
Have you prayed to the air elementals yet?
All right, so let's get to the news.
Okay, sounds good.
You might be a pruned branch pretty quick. You could be laying on the soil of my family bed. I'm disowning you. All right, let's get to the news, folks, and see what, if anything, you're going to learn tonight. You're not helping, Chucky. You're not helping. Ladies and gentlemen, as the news intro winds to a close, let's see what's going on in this paranormal news network, the Paranormal Portal News Network. Anyway, we're going to hit the ground running here with some articles. Just a few. I pulled up 4, but I don't know if we're going to do all 4 or not. But I'm going to hopefully give you something you don't already know. And knowledge is power, and if that's the case, you're going to be powerful after this. Right, Sheldon?
Absolutely.
Well, at least that's our goal. All right, let's get to the first article tonight up on the newscast of the Paranormal Portal. And this one is kind of interesting. I have not seen the new movie, nor have I read this article, so we're going to be learning it together. But from unexplained-mysteries.com, amazing site. Please support what they're doing because it's phenomenal for news. Indiana Jones, what is the true story behind the Dial of Destiny? Have you seen the new Indiana Jones movie, Sheldon?
No, but this is a great question. I was always curious of that. Like, what is the Dial of Destiny? That's actually something I wondered.
Well, I thought it was called the Antikythera mechanism that was discovered off the coast of Greece. It's believed to be about 2,500 years old, but I guess they're calling it the Dial of Destiny now. So let's see what's going on. As is often the case with the popular movie franchise, the focus of the new Indiana Jones outing is based on a real-life artifact. It might not transport you back in time, but the Archimedes dial, the MacGuffin?
MacGuffin?
Sounds like a bad McDonald's recipe. Hey, stop by for the MacGuffin. Of the final installment of the Indiana Jones franchise is at least partially based on the real-life archaeological wonder known as the Antikythera mechanism. That's what I thought it was. Okay. All right. I'm on point here, Sheldon. Hey, generally considered to be one of the most important archaeological discoveries of all time, this fascinating ancient computer dates back to 2,000 years and is believed to be a form of early astronomical calculator from a time when such intricate contraptions were thought to be impossible. How the ancient Greeks developed this device, which is filled with staggeringly complex array of bronze gears, remains something of a mystery, especially given the time period it was built in. Originally retrieved from a shipwreck by sponge divers off the Greek island of Antikythera, in 1900, the mechanism was found alongside an array of other artifacts, including coins, jewelry, pottery, and statue fragments. More recently, scientists have also discovered a skeleton belonging to one of the ship's crew. Researchers believe the vessel was traveling from the coast of Asia Minor to Rome when it sunk and it had been carrying the valuables of a woman who was due to be married. The mechanism itself was most likely used as a mapping and navigational aid. So I don't know what it does in the Indiana Jones movie, but it sounds like time or something is the reference there. But yeah, well, it was probably just for navigational purposes. But anyway, cool story, and you heard it here. You're welcome. That should be my sign off for all of our news. You heard it here. You're welcome. That's just so cocky. All right, next up on the news is another article from unexplained-mysteries.com. And I should breathe before I talk. That would help. This one is a UFO crash in Italy allegedly predated the Roswell incident. How about that, Sheldon?
Whoa.
So Roswell, I think, was 1942, and this is before that. Although there's apparently a crash that was at least a year before Roswell, near Roswell, just prior to that. So very interesting. Maybe I'm wrong, though. A UFO researcher claims to have documents pertaining to an alleged UFO crash that occurred in Italy in the 1930s. Wow, okay. When it comes to historic UFO crashes, there are none as hotly debated as the Roswell incident, but now researcher Roberto Panatti has come forward to claim that he has evidence of another prominent UFO crash that reportedly happened before the one at Roswell. According to Panatti, or Pinotti, I don't know how you pronounce that, but anyway, it's Panatti here because I'm all Midwestern and such. The incident occurred in Milan in 1932 and was the subject of a cover-up. At the time, dictator Benito Mussolini had demanded absolute silence concerning what was described as an unknown aircraft, prompting the formation of a secretive research team known as RS-33, which was headed up by none other than this guy. What the hell does that say? Guglielmo Marconi, the inventor of the radio. Oh, okay. Oh, very cool.
It's not on screen, so we can't see.
Huh?
I can't see the article. It's not on screen.
do you mean it's not on screen? Is it on screen now?
I don't know. Let's see.
Well, let's see. Let's wait.
There it is. Yep, it's on now.
And so this is the name, Guglielmo Marconi. Sounds like a recipe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, all right. The inventor of the radio, of course, Marconi. I think Tesla was finally granted the title of being the inventor of the radio, but Marconi was long time considered the father of the radio wave and stuff. But I think Tesla had documented and proven them long before. But anyway, that's another page in history entirely. The UFO was recovered and stored in a military hangar for years, but was eventually captured by the United States after Italy fell during the events of World War II. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Panotti maintained that he had been anonymously sent a number of documents pertaining to the incident, which showed that it had been covered up. What became of the UFO after it was taken to the U.S., however, remains a mystery. I guess we got another one, folks. Yeah, the disclosure, the whistleblower coming forward saying, hey, the U.S. has been collecting these things for decades. Well, apparently we even got some from what would be some form of Project Paperclip, I guess, which was the mission after World War II to take prominent scientists of the Axis countries and bring them over to the U.S. and giving them basically, what is the word? Giving them a pass for all the crap they might have done during the wars. But anyway, that's interesting. Who knows what happened to it, but apparently it's here somewhere in the U.S. So we got that going for us, which is good. All right, let's go to the next article. Sheldon, did you know about that early UFO crash?
I did not.
I didn't either.
I learned something new today.
Right, you're welcome.
There it is. Yeah.
You're welcome, all of you. I'm just kidding. I'm just going full dick here. All right, so let's continue. I'll be sure to bring this one up on screen because this one's kind of tragic in a sense. But it is kind of demonstrates the problem with people that came forward with claims before this current era we're in. And here it is. Son of alleged alien abductee regrets mocking his late father. Yep, his father had been abducted, came forward and told him he'd been abducted, and apparently the kid mocked him. So, yeah, there you go. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, folks. Daniel Rydell believes that he should have taken his father's stories about being abducted by aliens more seriously. When Rydell was growing up, the subject of extraterrestrial visitation was very familiar to him. His father, Patrick McGuire, had appeared on national television to discuss his alien abduction experiences and even warned his children about the possibility that they could be next. Yeah, because honestly, abduction scenarios do tend to follow family lines. At the time, McGuire had become something of a laughingstock in the community, and even his two sons treated his claims as a topic of amusement rather than as something to take seriously. McGuire, who died back in 2009, claimed to have been abducted numerous times by 5-foot hairless beings or star people, and to have witnessed several of their spacecraft in the sky. He maintained that the strangeness had begun when he discovered mutilated livestock on his farm and later observed several crows being beamed into the sky. His claims were typically met with nothing but ridicule and derision. Fast forward to the present, however, and now Rydell has had a change of heart, mostly due to recent revelations about UAPs and the U.S. government's investigations of the phenomena. You see, that's just it. I mean, would you not believe your own father? Would you rather believe the official narrative? I mean, seriously, folks, come on.
Yeah.
I'm the one who feels the shame, he wrote. How should we address our past mockery and ridicule if it turns out that hidden in a desert base somewhere there are indeed craft, cadavers, and photographs of strange visitors? Well, maybe you could just trust your father, for God's sakes, It's like, the government says they're real now, dang it! Oh.
I mean, it's one of those things when society fails you like that, like people mocking you in your community, the thing you have to fall on is your family. And if your family goes along with that, that is such a punch in the heart.
Yeah, it is. It's just a indiscriminate chest punch.
Yeah.
It's not even appropriate. I mean, that poor guy, he was just trying to do the right thing, come forward and tell people, look, this is what I experienced. And even his own family mocked him and turned their back on him. It's like, wow, really, your own dad? I mean, granted, it sounds maybe way out there to some people, but you can't just dismiss somebody you love. I mean, my God, we talk about on the show, we've talked for many years about listen to your children. When they say they see a monster in the closet, listen to them. Don't send them back to bed telling them it was a bad dream all by themselves. Don't do that to them. Well, it goes the opposite way just as well. It's like if a loved one comes up and said, man, I just got sucked into a craft and my God, I'm horrified and terrified, and it's like, oh, okay, get to your meds, Dad. This is ridiculous. I mean, that's so painful. Listen to loved ones.
We have to acknowledge Mr. Bad Boy giving up 5 Paranormal Portal memberships to the community. Thank you so much.
Oh, this just in, folks. Bad Boy channel has just purchased 5 gifted subscriptions or memberships to the Paranormal Portal on YouTube. Thank you, brother. You are absolutely amazing, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, last story of the night. This one's kind of, I don't know what it is. I just pulled it up. I don't know how long it is. No, it's a short one, so it's okay. We got time because there's one secret brief coming up in just a second. I have not revealed just yet. But before we're done with the news, we'll hit that in a second. So this one up from unexplained-mysteries.com. Builder finds 92-year-old message in a bottle hidden in his wall. So it's kind of like a time capsule, really, it sounds like. But it says Dan Daffern had been working on his house in Pembrokeshire, Wales, when he made the discovery. The 32-year-old been knocking down an old fireplace when he noticed the tip of what looked like a glass bottle sticking out of the wall. Upon investigating, he found that the bottle had a piece of paper rolled up inside. How cool is that? That's really cool. Luckily, I didn't smash it, he said. I didn't have a clue what was going to be inside. I could see that it was something. I was hoping it would be some kind of message. And although some sort of treasure map would also have been nice. But what he had found, as it turned out, was a handwritten history of the building, which happened to date back to September 14th, 1931. It was entitled A History of Minnie Moore. I could tell it was something really special, and the really old style of handwriting was cool to see, said Daffern. My nephews were super excited, and I actually had to keep them away because one of them was eating an ice cream over the top of it. Oh. When his mother later posted up the discovery online, she was quickly inundated with responses. It's a pretty fascinating thing to have come across, she said. Well, what did it say? Okay. All right. Well, I guess we're not going to get anything really cool, but it's still cool to find an old message in a bottle.
And these articles, they leave on a cliffhanger.
They keep you coming back. Keep you coming back for more.
True.
Raspberry seeds. We got raspberry bushes, and they're delicious, but those damn little seeds. Ooh.
I missed the harvest.
It's going on right now. You're welcome to jump on a plane, Sheldon. Come out and get some raspberries.
Yeah, sure.
So, before we're done, I just want to hit one more note, ladies and gentlemen. One more epic moment in the story of the Paranormal Portal. And if you don't know what it is, here you go.
This looks extraordinarily bad.
They linger in a perpetual dream state, a nightmare from which they cannot wake. I've never sensed anything like it. those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Paranormal Portal has passed 12,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you all very much. You all have helped build this house, and I have all of you to thank. So thank you guys so much. And it's just a really cool feeling. Now, is that a big thing in YouTube standards? No, it's tiny. It's very, very small. But, and I realize this sounds tongue-in-cheek, but I would take our 12,000 subs that we earned. Every bit of it we earned. We didn't go out and purchase them. I know, and that's kind of a harsh accusation. But if you ever look at some of the analytics of some of these sites, they suddenly just go and then boom, suddenly they got like 50,000 subscribers and boom, like that. Well, there's other ways you can get those, and there's some shenanigans about, but every one of those are people that have come to our channel, have decided to be a part of what we're doing in some measure or form, or they subscribed and forgot, which is fine too. It's like maybe not everyone's active, but this is the house you guys have built. So thank you so much for the love and the support, to all of you who check out the videos, to all of you who like and subscribe and share the word, because this is something you guys did. I don't advertise this anywhere other than maybe on our podcast and such, but that's it. So thank you so much, everybody, and I appreciate it. Deserves 100K.
I was muted the whole time. There we go. Okay.
Were you saying something?
I was.
Oh, what'd you say? You can say.
No,
it
I was
now.
just saying, okay, yeah, that's right. I was being your hype man, but then it didn't.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It was all here in spirit. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up the news. So let's get back to the rest of the story. And here's to 100K. Eric says you deserve 100K. Amen. I think that was Eric. Yeah, deserves 100K. Well, thank you, brother.
Yep.
Maybe someday we'll get there, but every day we get a little closer, and that's really cool and exciting. So we'll take it.
The next goal is 24K.
24.
That's the golden goal.
Yeah. Well, and again,
You get it?
I see what you did. I see what you did there.
24 karat gold.
You're welcome.
All right. Anyway, continue.
I gave you the rim shot. All right, let's get back to the rest of the show, folks, for more of the weirdness you've come to love here on the Paranormal Portal. No, it's a Star Trek shirt. I'm wearing the Star Trek logo. This shirt is about as old as Sheldon. It's almost not
actually.
Oh God, no! But it's close. I mean, it's literally probably 15 years old.
Oh my God.
Probably not that old. Probably close to 10 though. Seriously, it's very threadbare. It's very light though and breathable. I don't know. You can almost see my skin through it. So I'm almost topless here.
It's almost lost
You're
all its
welcome.
fabric.
Yeah, just be a neck band pretty quick, and that's about it. Be a neck and 2 armbands and a few threads connecting it all. But for now, it works. It looks good. It feels nice and light because I can't run the air conditioner. I have a fan going now, but it gets really hot here in the studio. And so the lighter the clothes, the better, because I'm a fat guy. So, well, I'm just calling it like I see it in the mirror. My daughter was going to draw you a picture. I hope she does. That'd be awesome.
Oh,
love to get
cool.
it. Again, folks, the art submissions are always open. I'd love to receive more from you guys out there. If you feel like you want to do it, head over to paranormalportal.net. Let me just put it up on screen here. And you can see, hold on, paranormalportal.net. And if you go here, well, geez, are you kidding me? Let's not do all that. I'll accept the cookies. If you go to paranormalportal.net and you look at the bottom of the page, it'll always give you the most recent podcast episode right there. And if you go down, it'll give you a little feedback if you want to be a guest on the show or on the podcast. Click here. That's the interview me button. This is the link to the YouTube channel and just a way to email me directly from here. But if you feel like you want to send something, on the very bottom of the page is the address to send it to. So any of you want to submit things. Oh, thank you, bad boy. Back at it.
Whoa.
Woo.
Bad boy.
Bad boy coming in again. Man, I'm going to be editing that screen tonight, but I'm good with it. So this is the address at the bottom of the page here. If you want to send something to me, that's the P.O. box for the Paranormal Portal. Can be just an email, can be a letter, can be anything. It's nothing. It's a northern Idaho. Crack a window, you'll get a cold breeze from one direction or another. Yeah, well, the problem with this house, Eric, is that most of these windows are painted shut from like 20 or more years, and they've got nails in them and stuff. I don't know what the hell they were keeping out, but all they're doing is keeping the fresh air out. Yeah, the demons. Who knows? Or keeping them in for God. God only knows, because this house was has plenty of things going on, believe me. So anyway, that's the way to get in touch if you have something you want to send. Paranormalportal.net, as Sheldon put it in there. Can you post the mailing address? Yeah, just go to paranormalportal.net, and it's on the bottom of the page. If you could do that.
Speaking of emails, Smokin' Joe said he wanted me to let you know that he's also sent you an email.
Smokin' Joe did? Let me see.
Yep.
I'm sure. Didn't I? Oh, I just must have got it. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, my God, Joe. You didn't have to do that. Joe, I could have done that. I was going to do that. Sorry. Mom's. Yeah, I see that, Mom. Thank you. Very cool. She's telling me how to pronounce things.
Dana.
She's on the ball. I should have Mom in a secret earpiece. You pronounce that this way. Because Mom
should be the producer.
Yeah, I need my mom producer. Portal Mom should be here producing these episodes. Okay, so Joe said, and this is to all of the Discord people. This was something I was going to roll out. Thank you, Joe. This is a very awesome thing. He says, Brent, I bought the shirt for the giveaway, but I think I pulled the trigger too fast. There was no place to leave additional info for delivery. Okay. So yeah, we'll get that straightened out. Don't worry. Let's connect after the show on Discord, and Joe, and we'll figure it out. But I really appreciate it, brother. You didn't need to do that, but thank you. I'll look into what you're talking about, or I'll call you. Is it okay to call you after the show? I can do that as well, but we'll sort it out. Thank you so much. That's so sweet, so cool. Again, this is our community. My God, people stepping up to make the portal better. I mean, are you kidding me? You guys are amazing. God, I just get chills. What the hell? Bad boys in here giving out subscriptions like they're Pez, and Joe's buying T-shirts. You guys are amazing.
Chasing Mound
Builders. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, we'll get it sorted out, Joe. Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out, and I appreciate you taking the initiative. You just didn't need to do that, but wow, you guys are phenomenal. We'll call it the Smokin' Joe T-shirt giveaway. All right, so
Yeah.
we'll do that. We'll get that sorted. Where the hell? I just lose my track because you guys just blow me away constantly. All right, let's get back to this. Okay, so we've got more. What's more? What do you say? Well, we've got. God, I just can't believe you guys. It literally stuns me. I mean, it's just like, wow. Who are you people, and why are you so nice to me?
They must like you or something.
Justin Fiddle says, thank you. Sorry, my chat lags. So yeah, if you remember, my 9-year-old daughter, Diana, called in a few months ago about her Shadow Man experience. Yes, I do remember that, as a matter of fact. Well, I would be honored to receive anything that she wants to draw for me. That would be really cool. Thank you, Brenda Joe.
Oh my God, Brenda.
It's just raining love up in here.
It's raining.
Thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Jesus. It says celebrate the first super chat from Brenda Joe. Aw, that's really cool. Everything is wonderful. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the next segment of the show, and this is having to do with our Discord community, and it's where we pose a question to all of you that are in our Discord community to see what your take is on it. Again, special thanks to Chucky Danger, who has gone above and beyond to take care of this for me. I love you, Chucky. This is awesome. And this is from our Discord, which is pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. But if you're listening live, you can find the Discord at https://discord.gg/paranormal portal. And this is the question of the week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to enter the question of the week here. And Chucky's been taking care of this. And without further ado, Sheldon, take it away.
I'm ready. Okay, so Chucky Danger come up with this question. Over the course of our history, archaeologists and amateurs alike have been finding artifacts that seemingly do not fit in the known timeline. What do you attribute these findings to? And how do you think these objects originated? Great question coming in from Chucky. Thank you so much once again. First responder is CMB Chasing Mound Builders, saying which ones? And does this include the giant bones? Because the Smithsonian is fairly corrupt itself. I don't know that they are even interested in the truth or even hiding it well enough. Interesting. Chucky coming in saying, yes, sir. Also, things like the Greek star computer and the screw found in the coal seam. Hindu temples also depict things like bicycles, telescopes, and even cell phones long before they were supposed to exist. Whoa, interesting. CMB saying, Graham Hancock is fighting the same battle now that some Native American indigenous people did back when they tried to tell the authorities their oral history of how they came to be. They extracted all magic and lore. There were people saying that giants helped build their structures and earthworks, but mainstream archaeologists push the narrative that if you pose that theory, you are insinuating that the natives couldn't have done it, which is obfuscating the point. But they do that purposely to halt the questions.
Yeah, very cool. I was all set to run in there on obfuscating, but you nailed it. Wow. Good job.
Yeah, have a little faith. I can get some words right. Some of them.
I was just ready, and it was like, oh, he got it. Good. No, I'm all right, continue, sir.
Next, coming up, Eric the Purple Hobbit saying, great question. So many possible answers. There is still so very much we don't know about so much. Well put. So nice to ponder these questions. I like the explanation that time is not truly linear, but it's happening all at once. I agree. I do like that. I don't like the linearness of it, but it does seem like it is linear. But I like the idea of breaking through that barrier. Right. Karen Alb coming and saying, I think there were previous civilizations here that existed before our time that were far more advanced. I think there have been people here far longer than science lets us know. And there have been, for a lack of a better word, resets in civilization. Previous civilizations were far more advanced than us and probably taught by visitors from other worlds and shown things. We can't imagine or conceive of everything there is to know in our current state. Our minds, I think, are not able to handle all there is to know, and I'm making sense to myself, but I don't think I'm explaining it very well here.
No, I think you're explaining it fine.
Yeah, I understood.
Yeah,
I understood, and I think that's a very good theory. Very, very good theory. ZX81V2 saying, we don't even know what year it is. Seriously, the calendar has been messed with so many times throughout history, and date/years of fabrication. C12 dating is not accurate. We are the 5th age of mankind. It's all been done before. 12,600 year cycles, and the next age is coming soon. His story, not your story.
That's a great point. When are we exactly? We don't know.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah. Android is coming in saying, wow, this is a hard question. Great question. There's honestly so many possibilities. The ancient alien theory tends to be my favorite theory because it seems to have the most evidence, which means aliens interacted with ancient humans. The theory says aliens spoke with them, taught them things, and maybe even gifted some technologies to them. I think it's the most likely explanation. Then at some point, the stuff they taught was lost through civilization, destruction from wars. Then maybe aliens took away anything remaining because they realized humans were not mature and civilized enough to handle that level of power. We still are not today, honestly, with all the wars and all the pollution.
Sure.
But one fact is for sure. The fact that...
Gobekli Tepe. Yep.
Gobekli Tepe was discovered, proved humans were building monolithic stone structures, reading and writing hieroglyphs several thousand years before they established across thousands of books across the world. This proves we honestly don't know anything about our history. Even beyond about 500 years ago, our history is pretty fuzzy. We have some big events records, but tons of details are missing from even 1,000, 2,000 years ago, which in the grand scheme of Earth history is basically yesterday.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are truly a species with massive amnesia, and it's a little scary to think about how little we know about our past. I 1,000% agree.
Yeah.
Yes. If everything was 100% accurate, imagine how much we could learn from our past. Oh my God. Last but not least, Rachel 101 saying it could be that occasionally deep ripples in space/time, maybe from the Big Bang, or maybe there could be occasional little bangs, a strange unknown energy burst that loosens up objects and shift them to another place/time. Ooh, good theory. These objects may exist in other dimensions, and essentially, the twin object is moved as well, moving them all. Throughout all dimensions, it exists. In one dimension, it could be a hammer moving a few feet on a shelf, but its twin is moved a few feet into a solid rock. Oh, I see. The waves grip the very energy that makes up the object and move them like pebbles on a cosmic beach.
Wow. That's fascinating. What do you think, Sheldon?
Wow. I mean, it's just like everyone's been saying, is that our history is so fuzzy. It's like one of those things where literally any theory could be correct, but I think we've been here before. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that's more accurate, and I think aliens have helped us in the past. So I just think that there have been some wipes into our history, and kind of like we are a species of amnesia. We don't have a lot of details about our past. We can't learn from so much that has happened. And in that case, just like they say, it's possible we're doomed to repeat what has happened in the past.
Right. Yep.
What do you think, though? What is your thoughts on this?
So I love this topic because this is one that I've discussed many times on the show through the years. But the OOPArts, out of place artifacts, I think are fascinating because there's just so much intrigue and mystery about it. Again, the machined aluminum next to mastodon skulls as they're excavating. And it's like, well, aluminum hasn't been around that long, you know. I mean, honestly, just a few hundred or a couple hundred years or something. And the London hammer, there's so many things that have been found. They found like spark plugs or something looking like a spark plug embedded in coal. So are those time-space slips of some kind? The London hammer is one of my favorite examples because it was just to, I guess, be redundant and repeat it, but it was a couple walking in London, Texas, and they saw this weird rock that had a stick coming out of it, like a piece of wood. And they're like, well, that's odd. And they picked it up and brought it home. Well, when they got home, they cracked it. And I think somebody posted in the Discord here some of the pictures of some of these out-of-place artifacts. Here's the London hammer right here. It's in the general tab. And as you can see, this hammer is very much embedded in this 300 or 400 million year old rock. And it might be even older than that. There's just several different estimates I've heard from this rock. But the wood handle was so old that it was both petrified and turning to coal. So parts of it were petrified, parts of it were turning to coal. So it really was that old. Well, how did it get embedded in rock? And hundreds of millions of year old rock. Now, the interesting thing about this hammer is it's not unlike what's like a blacksmith hammer would have been like in our ancient past. So could it have been a time slip where somebody or just a tool managed to fall through some weird portal and ended up in some kind of bedrock somewhere and just manifested as such? Or is it a relic of some long past civilization, some version of either us or whoever was here before us that shows they had a very similar developmental path, or what's going on? And they've also got hieroglyphs in here. They've got the Antikythera mechanism, even a bike depicted on an old temple. And these were things that generally weren't around then. There's things like stegosauruses depicted on old temple walls. I think in is it India maybe, or I can't remember. Maybe it was Central America. But there's no way they should have had a concept of what these things would have looked like. Well, somehow they did. And so in these hieroglyphs, it looks just like a helicopter. This looks kind of like a car or a spacecraft, some kind of saucer. I mean, so there's all kinds of oddities in these histories that are just kind of overlooked. They're brushed under the rug, like, well, it just looks that way, and it might be. But the hammer, as far as I know, has never been successfully debunked. So somehow this hammer got lodged into 300 or 400, 500 million year old rock, maybe 600 million. And how do you conceptualize that? Were people around that long ago? Is that how much of our history is off? Or is that some predecessor of us? Or is that just some time-space anomalies? We often sometimes stumble across stories of people that step through time. They find themselves in a different time. Well, what if somebody found themselves in the Jurassic period, carrying a hammer? It's like, well, what the hell's going on? And they dropped their hammer and ran for it and ended up back where they came from. Well, their hammer stayed. So I don't know.
That's a good theory. That's a good theory as well. Like, just they walked through a portal to another time.
Right. We've certainly bumped into stories of people, like even in Liverpool, finding themselves in like a 1950s version, even though it was in the 2000s. So they're on this Liverpool street, and suddenly they're going for a clothing store, and it turns into a bookstore, and suddenly there's no clothing store there, or something of that effect. Or it was it was supposed to be a bookstore, but it was a clothing store, and everything around them looked very old and unusual. And actually that part of Liverpool has several claims coming out of it of people apparently slipping through a different time. So is that some of this stuff? We don't know. How far do these time dilations go if they do indeed exist? Could they go back into the ancient millions of years ago? Well, maybe. But maybe it's just some other version, because there does seem to be some at least precedent for the idea that for whatever reason and by whatever intelligence, sometimes our development is rebooted. You know, whether it's an ice age or a mud flood or or a great flood or, some piece of interstellar rock hitting our planet, rebooting everything. It's almost like there's an intelligence like, you guys are getting a little too far. Let's start over, like let's reboot this computer and see what you do next time. I don't know. I mean, I think about all this stuff, but it's mind boggling. And to dismiss it, I think is absolutely wrong, because something is happening here that should warrant some serious investigation. Like for the London Hammer, do some metallurgy tests, find out, is there a specific metal? Where was this metal quarried? Because I think, when you watch things like CSI, my God, they can tell you where a gun was manufactured that shot a bullet. It's like, really?
Yeah.
And I realize, but there's metallurgy and there's other sciences that could help us dial into what the hell's going on. So if the London Hammer turns out was maybe created in ancient England, then we've got a real problem here. Not only the fact that it's geographically removed, but we're talking about millions of years before metal hammers were being made in London or England or wherever, or old Europe or South, in Africa. Who knows? My point is that, this is a fascinating concept, and it really does seem to demonstrate that there's a whole lot going on we just are not privy to. So.
I mean, even Android Paranormal saying the Great Pyramid of Giza is said to be arguably 2,500 BC, which was generally considered the oldest. But when the Göbekli Tepe was dated to be 9,600 BC, it totally shattered everything.
Right.
It literally more than doubled our human history instantly.
Right. And how many estimates have we heard through the years of how old our version of humanity is? Well, first it was about 10, 15,000 years. And then it was, maybe 50 to 60. And then it was 100 and 150. And I've heard hundreds of thousands of years old people have been around. So honestly, again, they say things like the science, you got to follow the science, but the science isn't sure. And so, and it keeps getting adjusted. So, Just Info Arsonist says, I don't believe that ancient Egyptians or people hundreds of thousands of years ago didn't have the wheel. Like literally, if you drop anything round, it rolls. Even cavemen can make a wheel. Yeah. No, that's probably true. I mean, we don't, I don't know when the wheel was invented or when it was credited with being invented, but yeah. I mean, anybody that's paying attention can learn a lot just by watching the world around you. So I don't think the wheel is probably as new as it's generally conceived to be. But anyway, yeah.
Nature's the best architect.
What if Groots are real? I'm Groot. Maybe they are, but they would be called Ents if you were a Tolkien fan. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe they're onto something. All right. Well, this has been a production of the Paranormal Portal question of the week. Thank you, everybody that weighed in on this. We'd love to have all of you guys join the Discord if you haven't already. If you do join and you're like, well, what the hell's Discord? How do I use that? Well, don't fret, because after you join, you'll be in the general tab. If you click right here where my mouse is, it's Discord tutorial. And Sheldon and a few others had posted some links to teach you how to use Discord. So they're actually YouTube links, or just go on YouTube first and learn a little bit about Discord, then click the link and join. Love to have you over here to become part of the madness that is the Paranormal Portal and Discord. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for us here on this segment. On to the next. All right, folks, that was the Discord question of the week. What'd you think, Sheldon?
I thought that was amazing. I mean,
hey, Chucky, the Discord link is pinned to the top of the YouTube chat.
Yes.
So if you look up there in blue, it should be there.
It shall.
It shall.
But no, it shall. But no, I Discord question of the week is one of my favorite sections, because your guys, we might think we have a good idea or something, but then we read some comment that's like, oh my God, that's a good point. And it like makes me rethink that idea. And that's what I love. I love that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You guys bring new thoughts to the table and new angles, and that's what amazes me, because so many of you guys are so aware of what we're talking about here on the show, and yet you still tune in. You guys probably know more about this stuff than I do, and yet you're still tuning in. So Eric says he invented the wheel. There you go. Someone had to do it, Eric. Nice of you to step up. Those wheels don't invent themselves. All right. So anyway.
Android said he found it. The London Hammer was supposedly at Boggs Creation Evidence Museum.
Oh, cool. Creation evidence. Huh. Well, that's interesting. And I imagine, so there are some Christian beliefs that would say the world's about 7,000 or 8,000 years old. And so perhaps that's something that they are using as evidence to that. Like, look, there's a hammer. It was embedded in rock. Obviously, the world's not as old as we think. And, I mean, I don't begrudge people their faith, their beliefs. I don't know. I don't know for sure that they're right or wrong, but I think that is possibly so much older than that. But anyway, to each of their own. I just glad people with faith have a faith, whatever that is. So
True.
Anyway, we're going to get to an article we've been burning through for several shows, and by God, there's still a bunch more of it. So without further ado, let's get to some more of it. And this is an article from moneyawaits.com. These are glitches in the Matrix, eerie glitch in the Matrix stories or moments, it says. So we're on number 59, so a little over halfway through this article, according to the scroll wheel, although that can always get smaller as you go down. So we'll find out. This might become a whole series of shows all in itself. But we're on 59. This is number 59, Double Trouble. And this happened a year ago. I was at a shopping mall and took a bus there. As I was waiting to take the bus home, I was looking around and saw a woman approaching the bus station from around the corner. Well, she was like 50 meters away from me when I noticed her, and as I was looking at her, she really reminded me of a girl I knew in middle school that I haven't seen for more than 4 years. Let's call her Lucy. In my mind, I went, holy smokes, is that Lucy? I haven't seen her in ages. Well, as she came closer to me, I realized that's not Lucy, it's a random woman. Keep in mind at this point, there is absolutely no one else I saw at this location for the last 15 minutes. And I haven't seen or even thought about Lucy ever before this moment. I simply continued waiting, and after 2 minutes, the actual real Lucy comes around the same corner and starts walking toward the bus station. I couldn't believe it. What are the possibilities of that happening? That was by a vegan CrossFitter. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you summoned Lucy. It's been known to happen. Have you ever done that, Sheldon? You'd just be thinking of somebody that you haven't seen for a while, and boom, either they call or they email or they're just, you bump into them.
Yeah, usually it's you.
Come on, dude. Like, I don't even reach out to you. What the hell is this? Gonna out me on my own show? What? I'm a bad parent. Oh, you are so
like there have been moments where I was just thinking about you, oh, what how Dad's doing? It's been a few months. No, I'm just kidding about that. Just kidding.
Oh
I'm just kidding.
God.
But I'll think about you, and then all of a sudden you're calling me. We've had those moments where it's wow,
sure.
Look at the chances, that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, yeah, that's true. But it happens to me several times. It's I'll just think of somebody and boom, something will come up and it's wow, how did that happen? So number 60, call the dogs off. Well, this happened to my sister yesterday and she's still freaking out. She's working at home and every midday she goes to our parents' place to take our family dog Jazz out for a walk. Well, yesterday she went to take Jazz out and he was nowhere to be found. Our dad was shopping and our mom was in the kitchen. And when she asked if Jazz was with our father, our mother asked who Jazz is. Long story short, there was no dog. According to them, after our first dog passed, we didn't get another. Thinking it was a strange prank, she searched the house and she couldn't find anything suggesting the presence of a dog. No dog food, no dog bed, no dog toys, of which he has plenty and they're always everywhere. Then our dad came home and still no dog. When she interrogated him, he started to think she was the one who was joking. After that, she returned to her home because she didn't want our parents to see her while she was freaking out, and she tried to call me. Well, I was nowhere to be found. My cell phone wasn't active, and she couldn't even reach the shop where I work. They simply didn't answer the phone, which is quite improbable because it's mandatory for us to answer the phone. She tried calling some of my friends too, with no success. After that, she went to bed and cried until she fell asleep. This morning, I had 16 missed calls from her with today's date. I called her back, worried that something had happened, and she was crying. She's still very agitated. When she went to our parents, Jazz was there, so she took him home because she wanted him to spend the night with her. She also confessed to me that the day before, she couldn't muster the courage to call our parents or relatives to ask about me because she was too scared they would tell her she was an only child. My parents told me they didn't see her at all yesterday. They tried to call her at midday for the dog, but her phone was on mute, and they concluded that maybe she was busy. I'm so curious, but she's still too freaked out to talk about it again. That was Miriam of Oz. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that would just send you into a loop, right?
Yeah.
When the world that you know suddenly isn't the world you know anymore. It's similar, but there's distinct variations. So did she do like a temporary Mandela slip and then come back? What do you think?
Well,
Sean?
I think the worst part is actually knowing.
Yeah.
Like if we were to all of a sudden be in a very different situation of our lives, like as if we did shift to another plane, we would feel like an alien because we would understand because of all the stories that we read. So like for these people who maybe they don't believe or they just think it's weird, but they're able to just move past it, we probably couldn't.
Right.
If it was so different, so alien, it wouldn't feel like we belong in a sense.
Right. I mean, what would you do? It's like, what else was different? Wouldn't you be afraid to find out?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I would do what she did. I'd just go home and just be like, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
I don't want to know anything else. I'm done. Just go to bed and hope you wake up with something better going on. Hope the world you know returns. Oh, but it's got to be a slip of some kind. I mean, again, we're making an assumption that this is truthful, and that's a leap as well. We don't know,
Yeah, sure.
but if it is legitimate, I mean, that's still incredibly profound, and that wouldn't be the first such story like that we've covered on the show. There's been many like that. One where a couple had been together for years and years and years and were married and stuff, and they always used to joke about her CRT, cathode ray tube CRT type of TV, and she said, well, no, it's a flat screen. It was always a flat screen. And he's like, no. And then she knew there was a fire extinguisher in the closet. And he's like, we've never had a fire extinguisher in there. And she looked, and there was no screw holes or anything. And they just, both were just like, wait, this is really weird. Something weird has gone on. But it kind of makes you think about the Mandela effects. Like that maybe we slip through different dimensions all the time, but we don't always notice the inconsistencies because we don't reevaluate our entire lives every day. So maybe we're missing the things.
That's actually worse, knowing that we may have already been slipped.
Well, I mean, okay, so let's talk about Mandela effects. For instance, there in the Bible, there is allegedly no reference to when the lion lays down with the lamb. However, I grew up knowing that the lion would lay down with the lamb. Now it's the lamb will lay down with the wolves.
That's not right.
Look it up.
I believe you because I even when I was younger, I remember you telling me like lion lays down with the lambs. I just remember you saying that.
Yeah.
So like, At least we slipped together, right?
At least we're in this together. Yeah, exactly. We're all over the map apparently, but and the mirror on the wall, or is it magic mirror on the wall, or is it Fruit Loops or Fruity Loops or Jiffy peanut butter, or God only knows. I mean, there's just a gajillion of them, but there's little differences, these little variations, and I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. And we should probably do a show dedicated to that again, because we have something we haven't covered exclusively for a long time. But
I would love to.
Okay, well, some Friday night we'll hit the Mandela effects.
Yeah, save it for me.
Loops. Yeah, I hear you, Cons. But is it? Or is it
Fruit Loops?
Or is it FROOT? So that's the thing. That's some people are like, wait, it used to be FROOT, not FRUIT. So, yep, there you go. Yep, I think they mixed that with the thorn and the lion's paw story with it. Nah, I appreciate what you're saying, and but I remember in our church there was an old cross stitch blanket that an old parishioner had made. It's an Episcopalian church. And I remember seeing on it when the lion lays down with the lamb. And it was this beautiful scene of this little innocent lamb laying in front of a lion. It was a beautiful thing. But I remember seeing that. I mean, it's not simply me transposing it, but I appreciate what you're saying. And that's certainly could be true for Fruit Loops, fruit, FROT, or FRUIT, and many others. Sure, there's things like memory glitches, but I think the problem is a memory glitch would be a very individual experience. But when you have entire segments of a population having the same memory glitch, does that make sense? I mean, is that possible? And I'm not qualified to say, but to me it seems like that's kind of a stretch, right? So I don't know. But
Chucky, you're right. Pikachu did have a black tip on his tail.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yep, there's a bunch of them out there. You can research them yourself, or you can wait till we do the show. Maybe next Friday we'll do a Mandela Effect show, Sheldon.
Oh, I would love to. Yes.
We can have debates.
Yes.
If you go to the Instagram, I got several of them posted up there on the Paranormal Portal Instagram. But number 61, history repeating itself. Actually, if you're on Instagram, like it. I'm trying to expand the social media experience of the Paranormal Portal, and I suck at it. So if you guys are on Instagram, head over and find me on Instagram and follow, whatever. If you would, please, it would help me out a bunch, because sometimes it's an important thing. I'm just really bad at it, so I'm trying. All right, history repeating itself, number 61. Something weird is happening in our town, and only my family seems to notice. The first thing we started noticing were small things, like duplicates. We would see someone somewhere, only for them to inexplicably end up somewhere else. For example, my mother and I saw and chatted with an old friend at the grocery store, and when we arrived home later, we saw on Facebook that this person was out of the country on vacation and had been for a few days. Unless they lied. We have no memory. They have no memory of us speaking either. Another time, my mother and brother were leaving a doctor's office when they saw an old woman in a smelly, tattered clothes enter the office and start speaking with the receptionist. While she was talking, my mother and brother got in the elevator and went down to the lobby from the 3rd floor. Upon exiting the elevator, they saw the same woman was in the lobby waiting for the elevator to go up. Sometimes it would be an event aired live on Facebook that we had already seen days prior, or a child celebrating their birthday twice with the same exact party and photos. I've taken phone calls that were duplicates of calls I had already taken, with the other person swearing we hadn't spoken. The scariest thing has been the deaths. There have been 4 times when very well-known and influential people from the community have passed, and every one of them has passed twice. We hear about it and see all the RIP posts on Facebook. We see the community fundraisers and put out to raise money for the funerals, and even see the cars at the church or funeral home, only for these same people to pass a week or 2 later. Then all the rip posts and fundraisers happen again, only our family seems to notice these things happening. My mother and siblings and my 2 kids, we don't know what's happening and it's starting to scare us. Is it just a simulation, Sheldon?
Ooh.
That was by J Day 57. Go ahead.
It'd be kind of horrible to live through things twice.
I know. So is it one of those things? I mean, too bad they couldn't get the lottery numbers twice.
True. What are they doing?
I know.
Wasted potential.
Start checking the lottery postings and see what's going on, and then go out and buy the ticket, and then 2 days later, the lottery comes out and you win, and then you win, and then you win, and then you probably get investigated.
Then you get investigated.
Yeah. So, well, let me see what time it is here. Yeah, we're gonna move through a few more of these. Number 62, walking over your own grave. Ooh. That'd be kind of creepy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
This has to be the strangest thing to ever happen to me. I discovered it a few months ago, and it keeps playing in my mind because I have a lot of health problems. Well, last year my dad passed, and we visit the graveyard quite often and go to various family members' graves. It's a Muslim graveyard, so they usually have the father's name and the other details on the gravestones. Near my uncle's grave, the one just in front of it has my name on it. My name is spelled a little differently than the common spelling, and it was spelled exactly like mine on the gravestone. Both first and last names, but it also got the same birth date as me. But there's more. My dad, who also has an uncommon spelling to his name, was from a small village in Kashmir. On my grave, it has the name of the person's father. It's my dad's name with the uncommon spelling. On the gravestone, it stated that the father is from a village. Guess where the person's father was born? Yep, the same village. It's really weirded me out. I know people from that village and contacted them to see if anyone heard of this person. But no one seems to have heard of him. That was by Paper Cut 2008 UK. Yikes.
Huh.
What do you think, Sheldon? What would you do if you saw your own grave? Dance on it? I'm still alive. I'm still staying alive. Staying alive.
I guess I don't honestly. I don't know what I would do. That's a unique position to be in if it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know if that one's true, to be honest.
I don't know either. That's a good point. I mean, again, we're taking, with all of these, we're taking a leap of faith. They're supposed to be legitimate stories. They may not be. But are all of them fabrications? Well, I don't know. I mean, at least some of them should be real, right? If you look at the law of averages, people submitting their own claims, that at least a few of these are real.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I hope most of them are. There's one we read the couple nights ago, and I thought, no, this one's not real. Maybe it was the last time you were on with me.
Yeah,
but,
that does sound familiar.
Yeah, like I was like, no, I don't think this is right.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, the one thing that having covered thousands of these stories does is it gives you a precedent. Like for a specific phenomena, there's some telltale things that seem to come up pretty consistently through most of these stories of the same type. And when those are complete inconsistent, then it's like, wait. How come this one story is so absolutely detached from hundreds of other ones that all seem to have a very similar cadence to them? So, I mean, and that might be unfair of me, but I mean, you can't suspend logic completely just because you're discussing the unknown, you know? Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's check it out. Number 63, wishful thinking. My mom was sitting on the couch tonight, and I was standing right next to her on the right, with my phone on the armrest. Well, I clicked open my phone to show her something and quickly typed my passcode with the phone still on the armrest. She very casually said, "That's your wedding picture," and pointed to the screen. I asked her what she meant. She said, "Your lock screen. That's your wedding picture. My lock screen picture is just a picture of some palm trees from my trip to California. My home screen is also just a different picture of trees. I'm 18 and I've never been married. I flipped through all my tabs and there were no photos open that could have even remotely resembled a wedding picture. When I showed her my lock screen again, the picture of the palm trees, she seemed a bit shocked and said it was weird. She just said, I saw someone in a wedding dress. After I questioned her another 10 times about it and eventually dropped it. When she initially said it, it felt like I saw it too. It was the weirdest thing. I feel like I saw it, but it instantly left my memory and I couldn't remember what the picture looked like. I believe her that she saw it. Could this be a glitch that showed me my future? That was unattributed. I don't know. Again, maybe not. That one's a little less believable. I mean, it's just a glimpse of a picture that someone said that's your wedding picture. Maybe not. We'll read this one and then we'll move on. Number 64, break up to make up. All right. My girlfriend and I had been together about a year at the time. Never had big problems. We were both pretty relaxed people. Never had a big fight. Never had trust issues. The whole shebang. So one day I was out in the front of the apartment building, and this is before we lived together. I had seen her the night before and had a nice dinner, gone out to the bar, then gone to my place, after which she took a taxi home. So as I'm standing out in front of my apartment building, she pulls up in a taxi. I wasn't expecting her and was pleasantly surprised to see her. I put out my smoke, smile, and walk up saying something like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Her reaction was devastating. She scowls at me, slaps me square across the jaw. Obviously, I'm dumbfounded and at a loss for words, so I just kind of looked at her. She never said anything. She just barged past me into the building. Well, I followed her up to my apartment, asking her what happened the whole way. She goes into my apartment, grabs her bag and some of her stuff she left there, throws a few things at me, breaking a glass or two and knocking down a bunch of stuff on a shelf. She calls me a pig, says she knows everything, and that I've broken her heart. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, obviously, and she stops on her way out when I touch her sleeve, glares at me again, and slaps me. She tells me something like, "I hope I never see you again," and walks out. I followed her to the street, and she got in a cab and drove off. The street was pretty empty, and I watched her drive off, and at this point, I'm just lost for words, scared and sad. Then, as I'm watching the cab drive away, someone hugs me from around my waist from behind. I turn around, and it's her, in running clothes. She'd been wearing heels and a leather jacket before. I went completely pale. She said hi in her usually happy-go-lucky tone, then noticed my look and asked, "What's wrong?" I spun around. No taxi. It had literally driven away 5 seconds earlier. No way it could have turned in that time, and all the lights were red. I didn't say anything to her, just ran upstairs. Her bag was gone. Things were still broken. My door was still wide open. So then I told her. We were both monumentally confused. There's no way I could have mixed her up with someone else. She's an only child. We had security check the cameras, and sure enough, me following a girl to my apartment, the angles weren't great, and the film wasn't great quality, but it was pretty easy to see me and my face. Hers was always hard to make out. It looked a heck of a lot like her, but never a clear shot. That was by ZJU12. So how about that, huh?
Whoa.
Oh, good night, Just Info. Thank you. Thank you
Good
for being
night,
here.
Just Info.
Thank you for being here. Smoking Joe says, you can't discount logic completely just because you're discussing the unknown. Brent Thomas.
Yeah.
Sheldon, this needs to go on a t-shirt. Best dang thing to say ever. Very wise. Love it. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's a weird story. Now, I know we've discussed that one before. That one has come up on other threads much like this. And again, I apologize for the redundancies, but it's a weird story. If it's true, it's still out there. If it's not true, it's still out there. But what would you do, Sheldon?
Same as him. Dumbfounded, look at the cameras. Exactly what he did, honestly. Yeah.
That would be any of us. Like, no begging or pleading, just like, is this happening? What is going on? So did he slip into a different reality and then slip back? Or, God, that must have been the most amazing thing to feel those arms and look around, and it was her. It's like, oh my God.
It's the real you.
Who was that other disaster? Oh my God. Yeah, that would be heartbreaking. But glad it worked out okay. Well, there you go.
Universe is
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's some parallel stuff right there, right? Parallel to hell. Oops. This is parallel to hell. All right, so there you go. That was some glitches in the Matrix. We'll get back to those. Maybe a few of them tomorrow night. But tomorrow night, I'm planning on doing some live investigation here in the studio again. Going to set up the REM pod, which was the superstar of our investigation at the Montvale Hotel when I was over there with Charles Howard Johnson. We had a really good investigation. I streamed part of it live right here on YouTube. So if you haven't watched that, you can check it out. But pretty cool stuff popping off. We'll see what we can get tomorrow night right here. I tell you what, it's kind of funny because I love going out to these locations and stuff. But honest to God, it seems like I'm getting just as good stuff right next to me as I'm getting anywhere. And it's fantastic. I mean, it's been a really fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love getting together with Charles and going to these new locations. And it's great to test these things out in other locations. These tools, these pieces of equipment and such. But yeah, we're going to do that tomorrow night. So if you like the live investigation stuff, if you haven't seen the live investigation stuff, I would ask you to check out the video that I put together called What You Missed. And I directly reference a show from, I think, June 6th, when we had some fantastic activity right here in the studio, triggering things and some great EVPs and stuff. So we're going to get back into that on tomorrow night right here on the show. So bring your investigation eyes and ears and help me watch for evidence, because it's pretty cool. The cat balls are live back here too. So if you see them flashing, let me know. I don't get to watch it too much, but if you guys tell me, we'll know. All right, time to go. D Oceans, is time to go. Okay, well, have a good night, D. Good to see you.
D. Night, Adam.
Karen's going to bed. All right, good night, Karen. Thank you for coming in. Oh, she's staying. Okay. She said good night to all the ones that are leaving. Okay. Okay. And Mound Builders, both of them went. Okay. Well, thank them. I appreciate them coming in.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Good night. Good night, D. Have a great night. Okay, so we're going to head to some Cryptid Corner, because I got a whole bunch of articles here, starting off from SasquatchChronicles.com, the home of the Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and also the home of Wes's shows for Sasquatch Chronicles, and fantastic stuff over there. And I've got some of the articles pulled up, listener emails he's received, and the first one's not too bad. It's longer, but not too bad. So, are you ready for some cryptids, Sheldon, for the Cryptid Corner?
Always.
Okay, good. All right, so let's get into this. Let's go to this button here and dig into this again, ladies and gentlemen. Sasquatch Chronicles blog. If you're not checking out the site, you're missing a big portion of what Wes offers, and you would be remiss to keep missing it. So let's get to the first article that I pulled up. It's actually from yesterday, I guess. And it's this again. These are, I like to highlight the listener emails that he gets that don't always get made into shows, but these are great accounts of people coming face to face with Bigfoot or other creatures. And they are, I think, extraordinary, much like all of Wes's shows, but you'll be the judge. So, oh, Deb, you're heading to bed? Good night, Deb.
Good night,
Much
Deb.
love to you. All right, so July 6th, strange night camping in Tennessee. A listener writes, Saturday I went for a backpack overnight to Frozen Head State Park in Tennessee. Excuse me. I was with my friend Donna and her boyfriend John, and it was 5 miles in and 5 miles back. We camped at Tubb Spring Campsite. It's a primitive site, and we carried out everything in our packs. About a half mile in and out of sight of the trailhead parking lot, all three of us heard a loud owl call to our 10 o'clock direction, and a reply loud owl call at 12 o'clock position. The trail curved up slope to the right. That was really the only thing that happened during the day. We got to camp a few hours later after having trudged through a downpour and thunderstorm for 45 minutes. It's been a rainy few weeks, and the forest was really green and dense. Near the summit, there were also lots of rock formations and undercut caves. The campground has several half-rotted table benches and picnic tables, as well as an old stone chimney and fireplace that was all that remained of an old cabin, apparently built by the CCC during the Depression. I don't know what CCC is. But they built a fire tower at the summit, and there was a spring about 200 feet away that was encased in a masonry spring house. Well, we set up, cooked food, changed out of wet clothes, filtered some new water, and as we finished eating, maybe dusk, John sits up straight at the picnic table bench and says, "Ooh, that poop smell, do you smell it?" I didn't, and Donna didn't, but I certainly know what I thought it was. Nothing else happened until we went to sleep. Of course, about 2 a.m. or so, I wake up. I hear this screaming with an almost yodel sound at the end. It was directly behind our tents, but well down slope from us. And then there was a response and similar scream about 90 degrees off, also down slope. This went back and forth about 3 times. I was pretty frozen in fear. I did not see any shadows on the tent wall and did not hear any footsteps. I was quite scared, and it took about 45 minutes of silence to leave the tent to pee. I fell asleep until morning after that. When everyone got up, my friends told me they heard me snoring and that it was really pretty almost like I was singing or humming. I may have been, but I don't think so. There was also a loud crack/crashing sound downslope as we packed up. It was a tree fall. I hear those all the time now when I'm outdoors. Neither of my friends had ever heard a tree fall before. And that was the last bit of weirdness for the trip. We hiked out Sunday during the afternoon. Yikes. So they were probably being shadowed, huh, Sheldon?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like that we see on all these stories. It's those mind games.
Yes, exactly. It's like psychological warfare.
Yep, there it is once again. Also, CCC is Paul Kolosky says it's the Civilian Conservation Corps.
Oh, very cool. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate your input here. I don't know all the regional names for this stuff. I don't even know the names for stuff around here. I don't leave home much, but yeah, I think interestingly enough, the owl thing comes up a lot. People do report the owl sounds, mimicking owl sounds, and I just had a discussion. I don't remember with who. Maybe it was on Discord, maybe it was somewhere, but somebody was talking about owl sounds and how that's really interesting that they heard other references to that. And I was like, yeah, but the First Nations tribes often referred to these creatures, these beings, as the great ventriloquists, that they would mimic a lot of sounds. Owls are real common. Coyote is real common. Several other things that, are generally nature sounds, but it sounds like, apparently from those that have heard it, like an 800-pound owl, like hoo hoo hoo. So it's not like a gentle hoo hoo sound at all. Apparently they're pretty. Oh, that was you, Chucky. Yeah, Chucky. Yep, Chucky, it was you. Yeah. So there you get there again. I mean, it's very interesting that the mimicry is consistent across the board. Like this seems to be very much a part of their strategy to try to blend in, but they don't. I don't think they do it as well as they think they do in some of those cases. So anyway, cool story, and yeah, I appreciate that. So it was on Discord then, Chucky. Okay, yes, I knew. I see. I'm good with remembering substance. I'm just not good with attributing it to individuals, even myself. So I'm just getting old. That's all it is. All right, next one up from Sasquatch Chronicles blog from July 6th. Something huge and heavy move in on us. A listener writes, I went back and forth for years now on whether what I encountered was worth reporting or telling someone of significance in the community. I finally decided to email you about it as I've been listening to your podcast for many years now. My encounter took place on the night of October 28th, 2019, in the woods of the DeSoto Forest in southern Mississippi, in the POW camp to be exact. Somewhere where my brother found out that there was supposed to be a high Bigfoot / Sasquatch activity. We'd been wanting to go looking for a while at that point, and I believe we were both on vacation, so we decided and planned to stay out there for a night. We live about 30 to 45 minutes away, so it wasn't a far drive. We got to the area and drove around a bit, looking at the area. We only saw one other camper. He looked to be alone, who knows, but he could have been looking for Bigfoot too. We set up camp that afternoon and walked close by our camp and checked out some of the trail. We were standing there looking over the pond that we camped in front of when my brother tapped me and said, listen. Well, I didn't hear anything, but not even 10 to 15 seconds after he tapped me, a couple of people on dirt bikes rode up to our east facing the same direction we were. They sat for a minute or two or so looking over the pond as well, and then rode back off. And I asked him what he had heard. And he told me that it sounded exactly like a mother and a baby, monkey. My brother wouldn't lie about that, but I didn't hear it, so I brushed it off. Sometime later, we were trying to get to our camp set up for when it got dark, so I went out looking for firewood. I found a trail directly to our west that forked off, almost like a mouth, opening in front of where we were camped. The bottom part of the trail pointed southeast, and the top northeast. I found enough firewood to get the fire going and went back. We get the fire set up, and shortly before nightfall, and we open the ice chest to start having a few beers. Well, time goes on, and it's dark out. My brother brought his Bluetooth speaker, and I hooked my phone up and put some death metal on it. Well, that'll bring out the squatches. Part of me hoped it might interest a Bigfoot. We both talked of how it might piss them off if they were there. I must have played the better part of an album when we hear something huge and heavy move in on us. At first we thought nothing of it, but the footsteps got closer, and we realized there were two of them, and it was bipedal. They were flanking us. They were moving in on both trails that came around us. The trail to our north ended in the middle of the pond, and the one to our south circled back around to our camp. At first, it sounded like they were on a trail, and then you could hear brush being trampled over, and that brush is directly in front of us to our west, where we were facing. We look at one another, and my brother tells me to turn my light off. We both had our headlights on our head. We got behind cover out of the light, which was behind our tents and our cooler. Wes, I've never been scared like this in my life. The only thing I can relate it to is being a young kid after seeing a scary movie and believing the boogeyman is out to get you. We both had 9mm pistols on us, and I knew there was nothing we could do to stop them. They were massive. I believed we were going to die. We sat behind the cooler, out of the light, listening to them moving in on us for what seemed like a while. It was probably only a minute or two, if that. They suddenly stopped, and I hear what sounded like a man clearing his throat and coughing, almost. The feeling of fear that I felt suddenly left me, and the weirdest part is that we never heard another sound. They made all that noise coming towards us, but we never heard them leave. But I wanted it to be over and wanted to be able to explain it away. We never heard anything else strange for the rest of the night. We didn't really sleep good at that night either. I did hear a good bit of rustling outside the tent, but I brushed it off as being raccoons or some other small animals. The skeptic in me says that we never saw anything, and I can't say that it was Bigfoot or Sasquatch, but the fear that I felt wasn't normal. There's really no way to explain that level of dread. It was unnatural. I took some pictures of our camp the next morning when we were packing up to leave. They kind of give you an idea of what the pond in our camp really looked like. Oh, okay.
Good picture. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they really were surrounded by a bunch of scrub, weren't they?
Ooh.
That's the thing.
Oh man. There's not a lot of line of sight there.
No.
Ooh.
There's a line of brush.
Oh man. That's worse. That's bad. Oh,
Yeah.
nope.
I mean, it's important when you're camping, I guess, to be a little bit, covered and have some shelter, because you don't want people seeing your lights from way away and deciding to see if they can sneak in and steal your stuff. But at the same time, that creates the liability that no one can see when you need help either. So
That's actually the worst part of the story, is that they heard this massive thing just running and sprinting and like making all this noise getting to them.
yeah.
And then they hear it stop. Nothing.
Right.
But
So
the
it's
worst part is they don't hear it leave, as if it's within 30 to 50 feet of them just hanging out there. It's just staying there.
well, that's the thing to think about too. Did they leave? Maybe they didn't. Maybe
Yeah.
they just held position and just watched, because they did hear rustling after they did finally turn in. So maybe they didn't leave. Maybe they were just there, just watching. When the people got tired and turned in, then maybe they scooted out, or maybe they came in to see what they could find. I don't know. I mean, God, I've talked to so many people that have had experiences through the years, and their stealth, the stealth that these beings can utilize is incredible. And I don't know. I mean, even on like leafy forested floors, no sound. Well, is that where they're using the trees? Are they using the trees to move? I don't know. But when you look at these trees, these are not big trees.
I mean, that's the thing, though, too, is that those massive bodies with all that strength, if they're tree hopping, you'd hear, like, the branches waving, the tree rustling.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's so confusing about this, is how, like we say over and over and over again on these shows, how silently they can move if they want to.
Right.
That is just crazy. It's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, and you know that the sound that they heard was meant to raise their anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing the story didn't have was the pine cones raining down, or sticks or rocks. I mean, that was the only thing missing. So maybe they weren't really wanting to push them out, but they were just wanting to intimidate them. I think if the things start getting thrown, I think that's a pretty good indication they don't want you there. But I think in this case, they just wanted them to know, hey, we're here, but you don't necessarily have to leave, but you better not screw up. Like maybe they weren't close enough to a family group for it to be threatening, but they still wanted to keep an eye on these guys to see what they were all about.
And well, it's also the case that I'm sure if they stayed another day or two,
right,
things would ramp up every night.
That's a great point, because that comes up often. It's like night 1, this kind of stuff. Night 2, the pebbles and sticks start coming. Night 3, bigger sticks and pebbles come. And the screams and other vocalizations, trees getting pushed down. I mean, it's this literally like a psychological warfare. I mean, they just keep cranking it up. And it's intelligent as hell.
411.
What's that?
By night 5, it's missing 411.
By night 5, it's a huge search. Where did they go? They're just missing. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic and got to be a horrifying experience. I just had the growling behind me, and it was still to this day the single most terrifying experience of my life. And I didn't see it. I just didn't dare. And I keep I keep thinking of that because that's when I think I was close to these things, the closest. I think I've been around them a few times in those woods through the years, just oddities and weirdness kind of things. But when the growling happened, it was like, wait a minute. I feel horrible. And I feel like I'm going to die. And it was literally that moment in your life where you think, am I going to die? Is this where I die? You know, and it's horrifying. It's just the most horrifying feeling. All right. Let's go to the next one. This one is from July 6th as well. The larger creature was female. From Sasquatch Chronicles blog. And this one is a listener writes, my encounter happened in the Berkshires of Massachusetts, where UMass, in October of my senior year of college, October 16th, 2021. I was 21 years old. So, slightly set the scene for you. I was home due to COVID during the second half of my sophomore year and my entire junior year of college. My senior year was the first year everyone returned to campus with everything running as normal as possible. After a long week of midterms, I decided to take the Saturday to myself and hike in October Mountain State Forest in Lee, Massachusetts to relax my mind. Oh, okay. All right. Got a few things there. So let's go on to the next part. I was on the trail for about an hour and a half, prepared to return to my car around 4 o'clock in the morning, so I'd be at my car by the time it was dark. On my way back down the trail, the sun was starting to set, so I wanted to find a better view of the sunset. I found a trail that was not as finished as the main trail, which went up a small hill, so I figured I'd climb it to see the sunset better. I went upwards on the trail for what was probably 25 minutes when I just came across it. There was what appeared to be an ape man sitting down, staring at me as I stared at it. It was about my size, 6'1". It had black fur and its skin was grayish black color. It was holding a branch in its left hand, and I believe it was eating the leaves off of it and saw me as it was in the middle of chewing. It had its head tilted upwards with pupils on me. Its mouth was half open, and it had a confused and scared look on its face. What scared me most was the eyes. There was so much human expression in the eyes alone that I was unsure what I was looking at. After about 30 seconds, it lowered its head and faced towards its right side, but kept its eyes on me. The side eye it gave me made me feel sick to my stomach. I was looking at a human, but it wasn't a human. The creature then moved its eyes off of me, looked in the direction its face was facing, and then moved its eyes back on me, never moving its head. Thinking of the whites of its eyes is giving me goosebumps. This went on for about a minute when I heard a massive crunching of leaves come from out of nowhere in the direction of the initial one was looking. The same creature came out from behind a tree, although this one was much bigger, closer to 8 feet tall, and I just wanted to deflate on the spot. When it came out from behind its tree, its hand raised towards the smaller one, with its hand up as if it was saying stop. The larger creature was female, as it had breasts. The expression of this new monster was not aggressive. Her head was lowered with her eyes and her brows raised, looking directly at me. I started to shake my head to say no. And to be completely honest with you, Wes, I started to cry. I wanted to scream, but nothing would come out of my mouth. My face was paralyzed but silent. The creature watched me, and I don't think there was any sympathy, but I think it knew I was not a threat. She lowered her hand and stood straight up, looking at me. And she looked behind me and, for lack of a better term, spoke. It was a weird gibberish thing. I don't even know how to describe it to you. She did not look back at me, but at the smaller one, and then she slowly walked away. The smaller one looked at me weirdly. I don't know if it was fear, confusion, disgust, or none of the above. It soon followed, the female, and kept looking back at me with the same expression. I didn't know what to do because whatever I did when it was right in front of me kept it from attacking me. I felt like if I made one slight movement, it would have come back and killed me. I was also terrified to turn around to go back down the trail because I was almost sure she spoke to another one of these things behind me. I was so scared to turn around. I was fully prepared to see another one, but there was nothing there. I was terrified after what I saw and wanted to get out of the woods as soon as possible. As I went to take my first step back, I vomited, which made me feel like I could bring myself to move my body. I walked in fear along the trail back to my car, not seeing anyone else, to my dismay. When I finally reached the end of the trail and could see the opening of the parking lot, I felt so much better. I moved faster as I got closer, and I felt like I wanted to cry again, when from behind me, I hear a guttural, "Aye." I immediately turned around and saw another creature much bigger than the female I had seen earlier. It was standing behind a large rock, which only allowed me to see the creature's chest up, and one of the creature's feet planted on the ground. I could tell it was male. I don't know if that was because of the noise it made sounded like a man or because of intuition, but I'm willing to bet this one was male. The interaction was far scarier, even though less happened. It looked at me with absolutely zero expression, except for its eyes and brows. Its brows were raised all the way, and its eyes were open so wide they looked like they were popping out. And that is all it did. I believed it just wanted me to know it was there. Again, I felt sick to my stomach and wanted to cry. However, I felt like it had done what I had done earlier. If I had done what I had done earlier, I could be okay. I walked to the end of the trail at the opening of the parking lot and turned around to find the creature still standing there with the same expression on its face. I wanted to look away, but was afraid to take my eyes off of it. I made it to my car and drove back to Amherst with one hand clasped over my mouth and crying the whole way home. I was still terrified. My friends invited me out that night, but I refused. I stayed in my apartment and was awake all night. I had an awful feeling these things would somehow follow me home. Sorry that the encounter is so long. I'm not sure how long other people's encounters are on paper. I can't get into enough detail about what I saw, but I'm also getting emotional as I go through it again. I'm nervous about coming on the show if you feel like you'd want to talk to me. I'm embarrassed about how I reacted to these things. I don't know why you would be. My God, that's...
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you could still walk after seeing something like that. I always feel like I want to act like more of an adult than I am, but I guess when push comes to shove and I see something terrifying, I still cry like a kid. I'm also worried about how I might come off to people who listen, especially since I'm relatively fresh out of college and am working to become a full-time classroom teacher. I don't want to come off as crazy because I know how I must sound after seeing what I saw. But that's my encounter. Life hasn't been the same since, and I'm glad I work with fourth grade students. They remind me of how naive the world can be, and I find peace in that. I wish I never saw these things because I can't stand my viewpoint on the world since that day. If you would ever like to call and talk off the air, I would appreciate that. I have yet to share my encounter with many people, and I don't even think the people I told 100% believe me. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to read my email to you. I hope to hear from you soon. Yikes.
That look that it gave him, that the male one gave him after the female.
Him or her. We don't know if it's a boy or girl that wrote this, but...
Well, no. I'm saying the male Sasquatch.
Yeah.
That look of like the eyes wide open, the eyebrows raised.
Right. Like,
that's
what you gonna do?
Well, depending on what it is, but like I've seen furious anger that looks kind of like that, where like your eyebrows are raised, like your eyes are wide open, like,
yeah, I
hate you. If you do anything, I'm gonna annihilate you type of look.
Yeah.
So it depends on if it's like a, what are you gonna do? Huh?
Yeah.
You know, or if it's Like, I hate you. You are so lucky that she, whatever.
You're so lucky she told me not to kill you. Yeah. Yeah, maybe they're matriarchal. Maybe the women are in charge. Because when you think of, what's the lady's name, though? It's the most famous Sasquatch Chronicles show, but she's from Claire. She's from England, and she's talking about, when she was taking photos, or she was, had a camera and was standing up on the ledge in California, looking down on a beach, and her lens cap dropped and made a noise, and this whole family of Sasquatch looked up at her, and the big one just came out of the water, just chugging along. Like she said, I never saw anything move like that, and it came up, and, in moments was up on the same path as her, but the female, the mother, was there too, and it was like trying to talk the big one down. Like it was because the children were down there too, the little ones.
Yeah.
And so, makes you kind of think maybe they are kind of matriarchal in a sense. But when you listen to Albert Ostman's story, it sounds very patriarchal. So I don't know. It's a hard to say, but.
Well, it could be like humans, like, like how the males may be the ones to drive things forward, but our girlfriends, our wives still have a say, in everything that happens.
Maybe
I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, like, literally, like it's like a discussion for a situation.
Yeah. Rachel said, I shouldn't be alive. She said, I think that's Claire's title on Sasquatch Chronicles episode. Yeah, I think that's right. And it is chilling. You're right, Brenda Joe. It's an incredibly, and there's no way you can listen to that and not believe this woman is being 100% legitimate in what she saw and what she's relating. I mean, she's just comes across so believable. And, and much like this story, I don't doubt this person saw what they saw. I think it's incredibly rare to sneak up on one like that. But if she was coming uphill and it was kind of ducked behind, perhaps the incline muffled her sound, or it was a well-worn trail and this person didn't make much noise and it was chewing on leaves, so it maybe didn't hear because of the crunching. Who knows?
And maybe the wind was blowing away from them, so they couldn't smell. Kind of like you do with hunting, getting down. What do they call it?
Downwind.
When you're downwind, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that big one was behind the whole time.
That's true.
Like it saw this person moving in, and was like getting into position to go. Oh, you're no problem. I got you.
That could have been what happened.
Yeah, and the female one was like looking past and going. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, never mind.
Don't do it. Yep. Don't do it, Harold. Don't do it.
Come on, Phil. Let's just get the kid and go home. I told you coming out here was a bad idea.
Rachel had a really good comment earlier, though, that I wanted to bring up. Rachel gets right, says, bring infrared cameras with your wilderness camping so the Bigfoot hopefully avoids the camp, or would it draw them out to the perimeter if it's in a place where humans are not frequent?
Yeah, you should probably use infrared spotlights because you want to be out of rock distance too. So if they can't come in person, don't let them mail in something on the airmail, because next thing you know, you get a tree trunk flying over the hedge.
Well, that's a good idea. Like if they can see infrared, they'll stay at the perimeter.
Yeah.
But at the very least, if they don't see infrared, well, you get some footage of Sasquatch. It's like a win-win.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. But what a chilling story. That was very well written.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't blame this person at all. Like, people say, man, I'm so ashamed of how I act. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
These massive things that can move like you wouldn't believe and have the strength like you wouldn't believe. It's like, of course you're going to be terrified.
Right.
That you're going to cry and be act like a child.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, again, I don't know what the one looked like that was behind me, but it was enough. It was enough that I thought it was my last moments on the earth. I did want to point this one out too. This is another one on Sasquatch Chronicles blog, and Wes posted Thinker Thunker's review, Roger Patterson versus Bob Hieronymus. And Bob H is Bob Hieronymus, who claims that he was the Paddy in the suit. He's passed now. Bob Hieronymus is no longer with us. But Thinker Thunker does a great job. And he's done this before, but I guess he redid it, talking about human proportions versus Paddy's proportions and why that doesn't work. I thought his other video was better than this one, but either way, I think this is a great reference point to looking at, look, is the video I'm looking at, is that likely real or not real, or what am I looking at? And so if you can break down images and measure proportions, you can get a real solid idea, at least theoretically. Now, I don't know how it attributes to AI and AI renders. You can make whatever you want, but yeah, I think Thinker Thunker has done a great thing promoting these measurements as a way of debunking at least some of the garbage out there. And if you haven't seen it, head over to Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Check out the link to Thinker Thunker, Roger Patterson versus Bob H. And it's a great breakdown of the video that they made of Bob Hieronymus in a suit and why that doesn't work to measure to Patty's proportions. So anyway, pretty cool.
Oh, link it in the chat.
You're right. That would be the best thing to do, wouldn't it?
Yes.
You and your links. You and your smart thinking.
Thank you.
All right, where's
it comes down the tree, you know?
Must have skipped the trunk.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, I think it's a great video, and it's worth exploring. So let me do this. I'm going to check out which one of Lon's we're going to look at. Oh yeah, since we're talking about Bigfoot, this one's a little longer though. It might be okay. I think I can squeeze it in. I think I can give you one more. You guys want another one? Want another story?
I'm ready.
One in chat. Put a 1 in chat if you want another story. Or if you want the portal to be over, put a 0.
Wow.
Sheldon, you're the first. Yeah, boy. Chucky says, yeah, boy. Yesu says yes, and lots of 1s. So I guess we'll do one more.
Overwhelming, yes.
There's a 10 in there. Con Squatch gave us a 10. Woo! And Maggie gave us a bunch of 1s. So she gets like 15 votes there or something. All right. So let's do one more. And this one is from phantomsandmonsters.com. This is Lon Strickler's site. Check it out. There's amazing reports there. There's amazing links to Lon's published works. He's got a few books out there, as well as links to his podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. So check it out. Lon's, of course, been at this a long time. Does a great job. He's been on the show a few times, too, or a couple times. But we've had great discussions. So let's get to this one. I'm going to lean in a little bit because Lon's fonts are a little smaller than Wes's. And my eyes are not great. I need new glasses, I think. Sheldon, you give me your old ones again?
Yeah. Actually, legitimately, I can. Yeah.
I've been using Sheldon's old glasses for about 2 decades now.
I've been his eye doctor, if you haven't noticed.
Yes. Yep. So that's how I see better. All right. So for some reason, we seem to have the same eye issues.
Yeah.
Okay. So from Phantoms and Monsters Radio, let's get to this one. Oregon logger describes his Bigfoot experiences. Let's get to this. An Oregon logger has discussed his encounters with Bigfoot while working on Mount Hood National Forest. He described its uncanny ability to show up silently while being curious. There you go. There you go again with the silence. Again, I think Mount Hood is where Cliff Barrickman is North American Bigfoot Center is, NABC. And if you're looking for a great place to visit, go head over there. It's in Boring, Oregon. Although Cliff's not boring. His location is Boring, Oregon. All right, so let's check it out. I was on our property in the Mount Hood National Forest in Western Oregon. I was making a new access road for equipment to get through and had been cutting with my chainsaw for some time when I decided to take a break. I pulled my earplugs out, which I normally leave in my ears, and I sat there inspecting my work. Suddenly, something started crunching through the thick brush from down over the hillside in my direction, straight at me. At first, I thought it was an elk, but the equipment noise should have kept the area clear of most animals, and I could tell it was cumbersome and lumbered along on 2 feet. Well, I started straining my eyes to see what was coming through the thicket as it approached, and got closer with every step. Finally, by the sound, I knew I should be seeing it, but it wasn't more than 50 feet in the brush, but I couldn't make out any dark forms at all. It was November and all the leaves were gone off the trees and plants, so I had a visibility of about 200 feet. Suddenly, it came to a stop. It all went silent, extremely silent. There was no typical forest noise of any kind. I could feel that I was being watched, but why couldn't I see it? Anyway, I got tired of whatever it was playing games. I put my earplugs back in, fired up my saw, and went back to work. Keeping my eyes down low just in case it let itself be seen. I knew it was watching me, but I wasn't going to give the satisfaction of freaking me out. I trust the Lord to keep me safe, and that thing knew it. I didn't have anything else happen that day, but when I returned the next morning, something had taken all the brush I had stacked in piles along with the new road and scattered it back in my way. Again, upon noticing this, I was peering through the woods around me with my senses on edge when my 2 dogs came out to visit me. They quietly walked up behind me and stepped on some branches, breaking them. I about jumped into the next county. I went back to work restacking the brush, and nothing more happened. About 6 months later, though, I was in an area not far from where I had been, cutting that day, trying to get a section out of an old growth fir log for carving. I was getting close to dusk, and I had my old Chevy pickup parked not far from me, about 40 feet away. I was preoccupied with what I was doing at the moment, but as I let my saw start a new cut down through the 5-foot log, I glanced over at my truck, and there, standing alongside it between me and the car, was a massive being, all black or dark brown, and staring at me. I cursed under my breath because I really wasn't looking for a visit now. My truck is hot blue, so this thing stood out really well against it. That rig is on 35-inch tires and 6-inch lift, with the top of the cab being about 7 feet tall, and this thing's head was quickly a foot taller than the truck. I didn't stare at it or wanted to make a lot of eye contact with it, but I noticed it was about 4 feet wide at the shoulders, and its arms hung down to its knees. Excuse me. Hold on. It was... Shut up. It was very hairy and very solid. I'm no judge, but I'm assuming it must have been at least 600 pounds, if not more. No, definitely more. If it was 8 foot tall, 4 feet wide, that's about an 800-pound animal at least. Or being. The second I saw this thing standing there, a cold shiver ran down me.
And regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in modern media. From the mainstream
let me disconnect that as we finish this story.
Overtime, guys. Overtime.
Overtime. You're getting a little overtime. I never did check the clock. All right.
The show's on TFR.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, TFR. Oops. The second I saw this thing, a cold shiver ran down me, but I didn't want it to think I saw it, so I turned my focus back to my cutting. I didn't want to look back or head over to see if it was still there. It was about 10 feet closer to me and standing more to my left near the hood of my truck. I could feel my heart pounding as I was getting a cold sweat too. But I went back focusing on my work. I didn't look back for several minutes knowing that things could show up next to me or behind me without warning. I find the best thing to do is to focus on what I'm doing and not look around and don't let my imagination run away with me. It's easy to do out there in the dark with those Bigfoot being curious and coming around. I looked back up after 5 minutes and it was gone. Thank God, but I'm sure it was standing in the dark there somewhere. And I wasn't about to look around for it. Well, I finished my work there and packed my tools and headed to the house without anything more occurring. The next day I went back, but after that, I tried to get back before dusk. I had previously thought that they were kind of shy, but not after what I've seen. They're curious and will show up even if equipment or machinery is running. One summer several years ago, I was spending an evening with a friend over in Washington at a rock pit. We used to camp at quite a bit. Over a decade ago, she had her own encounters with the Bigfoot, in which one walked up to her and her brother in the forest on Mount Hood. They were armed with AR-15s, but were both frozen in fear. It got within 5 feet of them and just locked eyes with her. It was a 9 to 10 foot male and watched her intently for about a minute before turning its head and disappearing into the trees. They literally looked and looked for it, but it had vanished. This encounter happened in broad daylight. Anyway, they are amazing creatures. So that was transcribed from a YouTube channel. But interestingly enough, this guy doesn't seem overly like freaked out like most people do, right?
True. Yeah.
So is that lend it credibility, or does it take credibility from the story?
That's a good point, actually.
I mean, that's the thing I'm thinking of. It's like, had he seen them a bunch of times prior to this? Because he doesn't sound that flustered, having been in such close proximity to them. I don't know.
That's a good point. Unless he's one of those exceptional people, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's a very strange tale, but yeah, anybody's guess, I guess.
Yeah.
Personal disposition, yeah, maybe. Maybe he's not a really flusterable kind of person. I don't know. I mean, there is that. It might be
kind of like, maybe it's like you with spiritual activity. It doesn't,
yeah,
weird. It doesn't, maybe it's just one of those things that just doesn't freak him out. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing I hate to say the most, because it's not that I don't believe I can be frightened or scared. It's just that so far I haven't been. And I really do look back at a lot of my experiences going, man, there's something wrong with me. Why didn't I run after that chandelier pulled out of the ceiling? Why didn't I freak out? But I was just pissed. I was just like, God, I got to fix that, you know?
Well, in a sense, then again, it could have been like a challenge.
Yeah,
like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, it's hard to say. I just remember it happening and being like, why? Why did you do that? Like I was upset, but I never felt like unwelcome in that house, And so maybe this is his house, maybe he was aware they were out there and they finally made themselves known or whatever. I don't know. Very cool story though. But yeah. All I can tell you is I just don't know. But
I just don't know.
So anyway, folks, I guess that's going to wrap up our journey tonight. I hope you guys had a good time and didn't mind a little bit of overtime.
Yeah, there we go.
What do you think, Sheldon? Should we do a parathon sometime?
A parathon?
Yeah.
I'd be down for it.
Like going for like 8 hours?
Yeah.
Really? You would be?
If it got to that point, why, maybe. Why, if we had like stuff to do in 8 hours?
Well, yeah, we're not going to sit here and just, hey, what are you doing, Sheldon?
Nothing. How you guys doing?
What are you doing? Nothing.
What you guys doing?
No, Don and I did one before. It was about 8 hours, but we had a good time doing it. We did do some pre-recorded stuff that we had put together for it as well. So, okay. I mean, it's not that we would have to. Yes, you should, Karen says. Hell yeah, brothers, Chucky says. So maybe. And maybe we could do part of it where it's listener submissions, viewer submissions. You guys help pull things that you'd want us to cover on a parathon. Maybe we could include all of you into the glorious experience of doing a parathon, because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to put together a 2-hour show. So, but when you're talking like 6-8 hours, that's a marathon. That is
truly. Gotta plan. We could plan for it, but we could make it work. Yeah,
we'll have to link it to something. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway.
We could do that at a goal, like at maybe 20K subscribers, or maybe
20,000 subscribers. We'll do a parathon. How's that sound?
20K. Yeah.
Okay. 20K. You say? Yeah.
No, 24K.
Oh my God.
It would make sense.
It would. I mean, it would be nice to get to 20K, and a listener Zoom could be auctioned. Yeah. We could do some of the Discord chat, video chats with you guys as well. Those of you that are on Discord could join us for part of it, and we could have a group discussion. Yeah. That would be cool, huh, Sheldon?
I think so. Oh, that would be really cool. Yes. Have a group discussion.
Yep, we could have a round table. All of you guys are invited. Just join the Discord. I don't know how it'll work. I don't know how the bandwidth will work, but we can try. It would be fun. We should do that anyway. We should test the Discord video chat function and get our people on Discord on the screen with us during the live show and just have a discussion. We'll pick a topic and just let people go nuts, like the question of the week.
I agree.
All right. See, we're no, I don't use StreamYard. I use OBS, so I can't retool everything for StreamYard now. I'm old and set in my ways, unknown. Ask it as Discord question of the week, and then everyone can give ideas. Yeah.
Oh, like we present it. It's like a round table. You get a question, then everybody has their inputs. We discuss those inputs. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Yep. You can do that. Yeah. Well, we'll brainstorm this a little bit, but that'll be fun. But anyway, guys, this is going to wrap up the journey for tonight. Remember, we're going to do live investigating tomorrow night here on the show. We'll do the news. We'll do the Discord question of the week, but we're also going to dig into see if we can make contact again. See if we can touch the other side and make some meaningful contact. So amazing show, John says. Thank you, John. Appreciate it, brother. I don't think you want to see that, Rachel. I don't know what Rachel doesn't want to see, but hey, you have to retool everything. I didn't know. Well, I mean, everything's already set up on OBS, all the screens, all the transitions, all my links, all of the sound bites. So I just don't know that it would interface with, I mean, there's an OBS, what is it called? OBS Studio, I think that is part of it. No, OBS Studio is what I use, but there's a different version of OBS that kind of ties into StreamYard, but it's some amalgamation of them, but I've not heard good things about that. So anyway, that's all we got for tonight, but we'll dig into more of it. And by all means, feel free to brainstorm, send me ideas if you want to. I love you guys being a part of the creative process as well. So Sheldon, anything in closing?
Absolutely. Join the Discord, get involved in the discussion, give us some amazing ideas for those questions of the week, my favorite part of it, as well as check out the home base if you haven't. Paranormalportal.net. It's where you stay up to date on the podcast, when we're going to go live, even an interview me section where you can get interviewed by Dad for your personal experiences. Great stuff on there. Check it out.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us tonight, guys. Yep. Drinks tomorrow. Bring your own beverage, and we'll sit back and tip back a few and reach out and see if we can make contact. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up tonight. So remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And we'll see you next time. And I'll have to check the memberships now because of Bad Boy.
That's right.
So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight, guys. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on YouTube, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't be late.